Swinging a high drive into center field. It's at the wall. It is gone! Casas does it again. It's gone! It's into the bullpen! This game is tied!
He swings and rips one to center field. It's high, it's deep, it's back, it's gone! Sale winds, he fires. Swing and a miss, strike three, it's over! The Red Sox have won the World Championship!
Hey-o, hey-o, hey-o! Welcome back to Play Tessie. It's episode 84. If you're listening on drop day, it's June 24th. And we're jacked, man, because the Sox take another series from the Cincinnati Reds this time. This is episode 84. If you're listening on drop day, June 24th, 84 is the JT Snow episode. He's the only one to ever wear number 84 in Red Sox history. I think we all remember JT Snow from our childhoods, and Sammy remembers him from his 40s. Very insignificant Red Sox. As a kid, I liked him because his name was Snow. Whatever. This is the official podcast of Dropping Confetti in the City of Boston, also known as the official Red Sox podcast of WEI. Before you get going, before we have all the discussions about the series that just happened, all the beautiful baseball the Red Sox have been playing for a while now, hit that subscribe button. Whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or the Odyssey app, hit that subscribe button and rate the show 5 stars. It helps us out a ton. Check it out on YouTube as well. We're on the WEI channel. Play Tessie has its own playlist there. Go check out those videos. Hit the thumbs up there. Here with Sammy, here with Pat. Joe's in the back. The Sox are, do I have it right? 41-36? No, 42-36. 42-36. They've won 10 out of their last 13 games. They've won 7 of 8. They've won 4 consecutive series, and they haven't lost a series in 7 series because they were splitting series. Like, remember, they split with like the Braves, they split with the White Sox and stuff. Like, it goes back 7 series since we've jumped on this podcast, and the Red Sox have lost a series. I don't know how many people had it on their bingo card, the Red Sox being in a playoff spot on June 23rd, going into June 24th. Literally, it like doesn't even matter. We're recording right now. The Twins are playing their game right now, but the Royals have already lost. The Red Sox have already won. So no matter what, June 24th, you're waking up, you're listening to this show, and the Red Sox are in a playoff spot. I think I already know the answer to this, but we always start off these shows with a vibe check. Sammy, man. Vibes, they're high, but how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. Like you said, vibes are high. The team is hot. They're playing clean baseball, which is nice. We just saw the Cincinnati Reds, who kind of remind me of the Red Sox last year, where there's a lot of talent, but they're too young, sloppy infield defense. The outfield defense isn't great either. But for the Red Sox, starting to come together a little bit. The young guys are clicking. We're going to talk about the matchups coming up. They're very, very winnable. I'm feeling good.
Pat, man, you watch these games. How are you feeling?
How can you not feel good? Second wild card right now. Haven't lost a series in what feels like 10 years. Everything's coming together, which has been predominantly and historically their biggest issue. It's either the offense is there and the pitching sucks. The pitching is there, the offense sucks. And that's been the last 2 years. Right now, we're in a really nice stretch where everything's lining up. They're playing good, clean baseball. The defense hasn't been an issue in quite a while. They're playing great. I'm feeling good.
It's just crazy because it's hard to not let your head wonder to where would this team be if so many of their key players didn't get hurt? Where would this team be if ownership properly invested in them in the offseason and believed in them? But I mean, all you can have is where you're at, and where they're at is in a playoff spot. I think back to the beginning of this series, and not even the beginning. Like, let's talk about the midway point in the series. They go and they lose the first game 5-2. A lot of home runs hit. I mean, you're in Cincinnati, and the ballpark it's very evident where you're playing. And then you go down 3-0 in the second game, again with the long ball being a factor there. So you've lost the first game in the series. The Sox have not had a lot of comeback wins this season. You feel like you're going to lose the second game in the series, and you look forward to the next day, and you see that Nick Lodolo's on the mound, and the Red Sox are going with a bullpen game, and Nick Pivetta, at the time of which I'm like trying to harken back to here, it didn't look like he was going to go very deep into the game, and he didn't go very deep in the game. And the bullpen had to eat a lot of innings, and they did a great job of that in the second game. But I mean, there was a point in time in this series where it looked like this was going to be the breaking point. Like, this is going to be where the Sox streak stopped, and where they didn't, It looked like it could have been a Cincinnati Reds sweep, and then all of a sudden you blink. Here we are. We're recording on Sunday late afternoon, early evening, and the Sox take a series.
Yeah, credit to the leadership on the team. Talking guys like Alex Cora, the coaching staff, Rob Refsnyder, Kenley in the bullpen. Those guys to keep the young parts of the team calm in that not so great feeling in game 2 when you're down, like you just said, and of course looking ahead wasn't great to Sunday. They stayed calm. They made a comeback, something they haven't done much of this year, but lately seen a little bit more of it. And like I said earlier, it feels like things are starting to click. The infield defense, still not great, but it's not a disaster anymore. It dipped a lot for about a week. It felt like early season a little bit with the infield defense for a while there.
Right after Story went down, it was bad.
Right. It was really bad, then it got good. And then about like a month ago, I would say, it dipped a little bit and came back up. So I'm feeling decent about that. The outfield defense might be the best in Major League Baseball. You have Rafael, when Rafael is out there, I should say. Him in center field doesn't get much better than that. Don't even need to discuss it. Duran in left field has become a plus defender, which is not something I had on my bingo card. I would have been happy with average-ish defense from him. And then maybe the most surprising is Wilyer Abreu in right field. Out of nowhere, he's a plus defender. The arm, we knew the arm was a bazooka, but it's just every time I see it, my God, I wish I could throw a ball like that. I wonder how that feels to be able to launch a baseball that hard. It's great to watch. I love feeling confident when the ball is in the air that it's going to get caught. We didn't have that the last few seasons. And like I mentioned, the infield defense still a work in progress, but improving. And you got to mention, all of this good stuff is happening with maybe your second best bat, Triston Casas, still on the mend. So you still have that to look forward to. And there's just so many little things that are positive right now. I'm very excited about the team. I don't want to get too high, not too high, not too no, blah, blah, blah. Not too high, not too low is how I try to handle the baseball season. But this is probably the best I've felt since that opening series in Seattle.
Don't forget as well, like you mentioned those 3 outfielders that have made the Red Sox outfield what it is. Don't forget, like Tyler O'Neill. Obviously, he's not going to play center field, but he's played good defense in the corners. Obviously, not like his Gold Glove defense that he'd shown in St. Louis. Like he's a little bit older now, so he's not quite that guy, but he's still a more than adequate defender out there. And Rob Refsnyder, like in left field, like you'll always feel good with him out there. It's not like he's going to make these game-breaking plays that Cedar Rafaela makes, but he's solid out there. And they just never seem to have anyone that you don't feel good about in the outfield. And mostly it's guys that you feel great about. Like that ball that Jarren Duran caught in the 9th inning of game 2 to save that game.
Unreal.
That is not a play that he makes a couple of years ago. Even last year when he was average, like you said, Sammy, like you wanted Jarren Duran to just be average. That's, I think, what all of us wanted, is just get to the point of being average. You're so athletic, you should be able to get there. But now he's just, I mean, he's elite out there. And that play is just not something that he would have made at any other point in his career. And when he made the play, it's like I was thrilled, but I honestly wasn't even surprised. And that's just where he is right now.
Duran right now, his outs above average, if you want to go by that metric, he's in the 96th percentile. So when you say elite, you're not exaggerating. He has legitimately been elite this year. And I feel like his arm has gotten better too. He had a noodle arm the past few seasons. I know it's not great, but it doesn't look sad like it used to. You used to throw and you'd see this muscular guy and you'd be like, why does he have such a weak throwing arm? But it looks like he's tweaked something. He's thrown better than he used to. There's that beautiful catch if you're watching on YouTube.
It makes me happy that Joe pulled up the Devers Enjoyer, the Devers Enjoyer video.
Oh, dude, my favorite Twitter account.
And he's right in his tweet too. It's like Duran didn't even make the opening day roster a year ago. He went to the WBC, sat, and probably cost himself the opening day roster doing it. And you look at where he's come later. I mean, it's just as a defender, it's been so great. And just to get back to the infield defense, because I do think that that's something that's worth talking about. David Hamilton has been better. Like, obviously, he's still not a great defender out there. And, like, you don't feel great when he throws the ball, but he hasn't made a lot of mistakes. You've had up and down play from second base.
It's like that Angels series. I think Angels or Cleveland. I don't know why I keep mixing those two teams up. But, Gordo, you and I were at the game. Houck was pitching, and it was like the first play of the game, and there was an error at short. Pretty sure it was Hamilton. And we kind of just looked at each other like, yeah, of course that happened. So we don't feel like that anymore is a good way to put it. You feel like he has a good chance of making the play. He's not a shortstop. I think he's kind of a fill-in at short. I like him a lot more at second. Can also play some left field, but they got plenty of guys there. So Hamilton, out of everybody on the team, I don't think I was more incorrect in my analysis about anyone. He has totally proven everybody wrong. I don't think anyone had a positive analysis on David Hamilton. Actually, friend of the program, Ed Hand, did. So credit to Ed for hitting that.
Bradfo said he could hit. I'll give Bradfo his credit. I was stunned when we were on radio with him at one point way back. This might have even been during that Angels series. Might have been the day after what you're talking about, Sammy. He said, I think David Hamilton can hit a little bit. I just don't know about the defense. I was stunned. But, I mean, there was like ESPN last week with the Yankees game on the national broadcast. They kept referencing BABIP. And, like, I personally, I just have so many problems with BABIP. But you saw David Hamilton. It was like the reverse BABIP. And honestly, I think it's been 2 straight series where he's had a couple of really hard hit balls to right field, to center field, and they're getting caught. And it's like, all right, man, like now his luck's turning around, but he's still hitting the ball well. He's approaching the plate well, and he's playing reasonable defense. I feel like the one area where the defense in the infield has been down at times, you've seen Valdez make a few errors recently at second base, or like I think there was a couple of them that weren't even necessarily ruled errors, but it's like plays that you want the guy to make. And it's like, okay, when the team gets healthy, I don't know. I love Valdez's bat. He's kind of an interesting discussion point. It's like
Valdez is interesting. I think a good way to put it is they're not making errors anymore, as many errors anymore. They're never going to be a really good infield defense with this group. Like Rafael Devers has cut down on the errors. He's still not adding any extra outs to your team. Very few. Same thing with Valdez. He's a little bit worse in that category. He has made a few errors, but not as bad as 2023. But he's still not going to take away any outs from the other team. Kind of same with Dom Smith. I know it's first base. People don't really care that much about first base defense. Just try not to get noticed over there. And then at short, you kind of have that rotation of guys. You just went over it. Other than Rafaela, probably nobody's getting you extra outs off the board. So just don't make errors. Be average. I think that's all you can ask for this infield defense group.
Question, and I'll pose it to you, Pat, because I think one thing that obviously we've been waiting for, everyone's been waiting for, and like we still, I feel like don't know exactly when he's coming back, but Triston Casas is going to come back, and like obviously, like we can have the discussion about Dom Smith's role if we want to, but I'm curious defensively because it feels to me Dom Smith has been, I don't even know how to evaluate the defense there because he's such a good receiver of throws at first base, but I would say over the last month or so, the biggest, I guess, bottleneck in the defense has been the first base to pitcher exchange. And Casas is so comfortable with that. I honestly can't remember Casas ever having a problem with it. Pat, when Casas comes back, do you think there's going to be a noticeable change in the infield defense, or do you think it's kind of going to be like we don't even really notice because it's first base?
Well, I think it's in the grand scheme, I think it'll be a minimal difference, but on the balls hit to Casas, you'll be able to tell the difference. Because you can see Dom Smith visibly kind of apprehensive about tossing the ball over, kind of feeding the pitcher, leading the guy running to the base. Casas, for whatever reason, probably because he's been doing it for a million years and he's good at it, has no apprehension. Like he puts it right in the guy's chest in stride every single time. So I think there's going to be a higher level of comfort once Casas is back. When a ball goes to first base, you're like, oh, okay, it's an out. Where Dom right now, it's kind of, you're a little uneasy. It's, then you see it kind of in the air. You get a good feeling where it's going, whatever. But I think in the grand scheme, it won't be big. But as you see more and more of Casas doing it, you're going to realize how big of a difference it is.
Yeah. And it sucks in a way. It doesn't suck. It's a good problem to have. But it's like, I appreciate, though, that Dom Smith, at least at the plate, has certainly not been a negative. He had a I guess in a way a big home run in the second game. It made it a 3-1 game, but obviously you don't necessarily win that game if he doesn't hit that homer. We'll talk about his role coming up. I mean, maybe next week, maybe 2 episodes from now, that discussion. I mean, I think when Triston Casas starts his rehab assignment, which I don't think is necessarily going to be a short one, because I don't think, like I remember last year when Trevor Story was coming back, there were a lot of people trying to push him speed through the rehab assignment because we really need you right now. Whereas obviously we need Casas. We need Casas, but they're going to be better with Triston Casas out there, but they've been winning games, and Dom Smith has not been a black hole of a player at first base. He's been more or less okay. And I guess just to finish off the game 2 stuff, I don't know where this team would be without the middle relief that they have, because so many people think about bullpens and they think about the closer, the primary setup man, and sometimes the second setup guy, the 7th inning guy, whatever. But I'm going to go through here. I mean, Nick Pivetta went 4 1/3. The Reds got him out of that game fast. And this is a game the Red Sox were losing. There was no margin for error at all. They won this game 4-3. Like, there could not be any error. And you got Bernardino goes 2/3 of an inning. Weiser goes an inning, and that's both scoreless. Boozer, 2/3 of an inning, scoreless. Zach Kelly, 1/3 of an inning, scoreless. Chris Martin, full inning scoreless with a couple of strikeouts. Kenley Jansen locks us down in the 9th with a scoreless inning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 relievers who all enter the game. And to be honest with you, I don't know about you guys, I feel good every time every single one of those guys enters the game.
Yeah. And it was like Sammy was saying, though, is one thing they haven't done a ton of this year is coming back and winning. It goes a long ways to have a bullpen, much like the outfield, that if any of those kind of core guys go out, you feel so comfortable about. They let up, 3 runs in the first 4 innings? 3 runs in the first 3 innings?
Yeah, Pivetta 4 1/3, 3.
The ability for the bullpen to kind of keep things maintained and controlled, not let up a run, allows your offense to regain composure, get some confidence, build back toward taking a lead. So we never underestimate the bullpen, but having guys like that who can kind of shut shit down and let everything kind of regain itself is so big. It's so big.
I mean, we've seen the other side of this too. I mean, back to like 2022,
the Barnes and the Workmans, and
think back, like we would see the Red Sox down 2-1 in the 8th, and Cora's not going to put in his 2 best guys in those situations because you need those guys when you're up a run. You can't wear those guys down. We've seen what happens when guys get worn down. We've seen it with, like, Matt Barnes comes to mind. Junichi Tsuzawa was a guy that John Farrell would throw out there all the time, and you would see him worn down by August. So you got to be careful with guys. You can't throw them out there in every single close game. You got to pick their spots, which means when you're down a run, you got to maybe go to your 5th best guy. And with other Red Sox teams, like I remember back in 16, my least favorite guy, and John Farrell was still the manager of the team at the time, but he would always, when they were down like 4-3 in the 8th, he would put in Noe Ramirez. I don't know if you guys remember Noe Ramirez, but he was the classic guy where you would put him in. You're a maniac. But he would put him in the game, and it 4-3 game turns to 7-3, and now the game's over. Whereas with this team, they don't always come back and win, but for the most part, it's not because of the bullpen. Like, if they put in Chase Anderson or Brad Keller, yeah, like sometimes these games will get coughed up. But like, if you're going to go for a game like they did on Saturday, throw your middle relievers, they're going to give you a chance to come back and win the game. And they did.
That's all you can ask for.
And it's even crazier when you think about the 3rd game, because like I just said, everyone knew, Cora knew, the bullpen knew, everyone knew it's going to be a bullpen day coming up. These guys are going to be asked to do a lot. They did it on Saturday, and on Sunday, let's see it here. Zach Kelly starts the game, 2 2/3, 3 Ks, only 1 hit. Of course, the 1 hit, it's like the first hit he's given up in like 35 to 40 batters.
34 batters without a hit. That's nuts, man. Zach is legit. And the fact that he can go not just like an inning and change, he almost went 3 innings today. It's like so.
And he could have too.
Yeah, he could have. I didn't mind. They took him out because the lineup turned over, and the guy who Friedel was coming up, and Friedel hit like
lefty.
300-foot fly out at his first at bat too. So I get it, but it's not like Zach couldn't have gotten him. I thought he was looking great out there. 3 pitches working today. Sometimes you can tell, like, if the changeup's not hitting the strike zone or the fastball's not looking great that day. He had all 3 pitches on Sunday. Pleasure to watch. Thank you.
Yeah, and a quick shout out, because obviously Zach Kelly, from a pitching standpoint, was the clear star of the day. But I want to give a shout out to Cam Boozer as well, who threw a scoreless inning. This is his 3rd straight day of work. He pitched every single game in the series, and that is not an easy thing to do. I mean, maybe 10, 15 years ago, you'd see guys go 3 straight days semi-regularly. These days, like, They avoid 3 straights. They avoid 4 out of 5s. Like they do what they can to keep these guys fresh. And this is a guy that going into spring training, no one had ever heard of. And now he's here. He's got a 3.21 ERA. Really key inning of work today. Props to Cam Boozer. Props to the bullpen.
He's another guy too that started off rocky. Like I would imagine after his 3rd, 4th outing, he's probably around a 2 ERA wise.
He had, Sammy, do you remember, Pat, I think you weren't on this show, but it was after the Tigers series when he came in for that extra inning and he just like clearly didn't have it. I think they were like tied 4-4 and he let up like, I'm trying to think outside of that game. I'll pull up his game logs right now.
His first game. Other than that, his first game was like the only one that didn't go too well.
Yeah, the first one.
Pirates gave up a run in like 2/3 of an inning, but whatever.
All right, you ready for this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight scoreless appearances for Boozer. Then came that Tigers one. And then before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 out of 5 were scoreless. Had a bad one. 4 straight scoreless before that. Had an inning and a third with a run. Then 3 straight scoreless for that. And then it was like his first 3 outings, he wasn't that great. Yeah. But after that, it's pretty much just been that one Tigers game. And like, this is a guy who throws it from the left side and they have confidence throwing him against both sides. His numbers actually have been a little bit better against right-handed batters this year. So, I mean, it's can't say enough to have guys like Boozer, to have guys like Bernardino, who you're confident in throwing from the left side, but they can go get righties out too. Obviously, with the new rules these days, you have to have those guys.
Yeah, no more loogies. Remember loogies, Javier Lopez? That was a good loogie. Kind of interesting when Isaiah Campbell inevitably comes back. The Red Sox will have Campbell, who's a righty who pitches better against lefties, and then Boozer, who's a lefty who pitches better against righties. A little bit of interesting reverse split stuff going on.
And then Bernardino just murders everybody.
Yeah, and Bernie just like don't even. Bernie's got the most underrated strange delivery. Like it's so fast and he like it's like he snaps the ball at home plate. He's got to be a super uncomfortable at bat for lefties, especially. Like it's so much movement.
It looks like he's hula hooping to me. With his arm. The arm is the hoop. And he's like rotating his body like he's hula hoop. I don't know. It's an interesting
gyrating.
Yeah. It's like he's not like he throws that hard, but when you have a delivery like that, it's hard to pick up.
You know what I love? When Bernardino's pitching and it's in a tough spot and the camera pans and they show his face and he's kind of just like, whatever, dude. I'm going to get out of this. I'm not worried about it. And then he's does.
Probably the coolest cucumber on the team. I'm trying to think of who else is a cooler cucumber than Bernie. They've got some cool cucumbers.
Bernie and Kenley are the cool
Kenley's
guys.
a cool cucumber.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
In this game, let's see. 8 in the non-Brad Keller pitchers threw 8 innings of 1-run ball in a bullpen game. It's really impressive. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers that combined to throw 8 innings of 1-run ball. Obviously, Brad Keller had the tough inning 3 runs, just 1 strikeout, 4 hits. So really well pitched game. I mean, they scored 7 runs. The offense has been wheeling and dealing. And it's been crazy to see considering the injuries they've had. You guys ready to pick a series MVP again?
Oh, dude, I was born ready.
I mean, it feels like there's a couple of candidates here. I'm trying to think. Because, I mean, so much of the stardom in this series came from relievers. And it's just hard because, like, unless you want to vote for the bullpen as a whole, but that kind of feels like a cop-out. It feels like you should vote for a player. I don't know. You guys tell me what you're thinking on this.
In Game 3, I would have voted for Todd Tichenor. That in Game 3 was so bad, but I felt like every call went to the Red Sox, so I was cool with it. I don't know if you guys felt the same way.
Oh, he was horrendous. It was great.
Oh,
yeah.
David Bell, rightfully. I mean, it's not even one of those things where it's like he had to go out there and get tossed. Even if he wasn't actually mad, he had to do it.
And then the ump kept screwing up the same calls. Like, I think it was Ref Snyder or Devers, one of the two. It was 3 or 4 that he totally struck out. Threw like a beautiful, beautiful pitch, painted the corner, cannot throw a better pitch. And I think Devers just like went to first base. See ya. Ball 4. And Dave O'Brien even mentioned that Dave Bell is probably like breaking stuff in the clubhouse right now watching this game, how bad this ump was. But we fully support it since 90% of those bad calls went in favor of Boston. We really appreciate you, Todd Tichenor. Series MVP. No, just kidding.
Series MVP.
Todd Tichenor for handing the Red Sox game 3 with his awful calls that we love and appreciate deeply.
Who wants to go first here? Sammy, do you want to go first for your series MVP? Is it Tichenor? Are you going with Tichenor?
Todd Tichenor came in third for me. I was going back between two guys, and the two guys are Jarren Duran and Connor Wong. And I'm going to go with Connor Wong. I think Duran had more hits and made more of an impact defensively, but the timing of Wong's home runs, 2 home runs this series, both were, big spots. I'm going to go with him. Plus, we've also been a lot of Jarren Duran love. We got to spread the love. So I'm going with Wong. He's just such a steady presence behind home plate. I can't believe how good his bat has become. We're gonna have a later episode where we talk about guys who can make the All-Star team. We're gonna go over Wong's stats. Definitely tune in for that episode. They are. What do you even say about his stats? They're not even close to what we would have predicted. I would have said hit 275 with a couple home runs, steal a couple of bags, bat 8th or 9th. This is your number 3 to 5 hitter now, and he's been unbelievable. So that's my pick. Connor Wong, Series MVP. Good shit.
I'll go next here because I'm going to take the other side of that. I know you said it's between Connor Wong and Jarren Duran. I'm going Duran here. I like to only look at the wins, but I'm going to look at the loss here too because he did go 2 for 4 with a bomb in that loss. But 2 for 4 in the next game, scores the game-winning run, tagging from third and in a way that only someone as fast as Jarren Duran could do it, and then saves the game with a robbed home run in the 9th. And then the third game goes a casual 3 for 5. He's just I know it just feels like it's just the Jarren Duran love show, but I mean, he just does so many things that just deserve to be talked about in a way that it's not even a knock on other guys because other guys have been good, but it's just he's been that elite. So my vote goes to Jarren Duran, which means that Pat is going to break the tie.
Vote for Tichenor, Pat.
Uh-oh.
The pregnant pause.
No, I'm going to go with Connor Wong. I think for the same reasons as Sammy. 2 home runs and 4 RBI in a 3-game series that he played every game of. Not super common for Connor Wong. Always kind of split in time with Reese. He was just more impactful. The hits, the RBI, they came in timely manners in close games. I think Duran made some great plays. I think he's probably a little bit more consistent at the plate. I think Connor Wong went 3 for 11, 3 for 9 this series, something like that. But I don't know. I think Wong had a bigger impact. I think without Wong in this series, without his 2 home runs, the RBI, the behind the plate, everything, I don't know if they sweep. And we give Jarren Duran more love than probably any podcast in the world. We got to go with somebody else other than Jarren. So by default, I'm going Wong, but I do think he's equally deserving as Jarren was.
It's like in the NBA when the same guy wins MVP multiple years, they just give it to somebody
voter
else.
fatigue. I have voter fatigue with Jarren Duran.
Voter fatigue. Yeah, we kind of have voter fatigue. You can't go wrong either way, though. Honestly, Durant. Will Middlebrook said it after the post game. You're kind of disappointed at this point when he doesn't have a 3-hit game because he has so many of them. I can't think of a player that's more fun to watch. But I'll save all the Jarren Duran glazing for our next episode. We got a fun one coming up.
We literally, we've got another one coming up. We'll explain at the end what the deal is going to be there, but it's we're okay, try to reel in the Jarren Duran love because we're going to have a ton of it in the second one. And yet we've still just it's hard because you recap the series in which he was so good, but Connor Wong also incredible and he hit the home run that put them ahead today, if I'm not mistaken, right? He put them ahead early and then was it Romy doubled? Yeah. So
Romy
Connor
had
Wong,
the double. Romy almost hit a home run, man. That was so close to getting out of there.
Romy's good too, man. He's what a weirdly good find, guy that I didn't realize was going to be as versatile as he's been. And he's hit the ball well, and they've needed right-handed bats, and he stepped in because you could go with a guy like Bobby, but I mean Romy's on another level compared to Bob. I mean, a lot of guys are on another level compared to Bob, but Romy is on another level compared to Bob. But congrats to Connor Wong. This is his second Play Tessie Series MVP. So beautiful. Big shouts to Connor Wong. Any final notes before we hit the series preview for the next one?
Yes, Romy has a mustache now, so he's part of the club. I think that probably is why he hit the double today. The mustache. So
Love
good
it.
for Romy.
Good mustache. Good mustache.
Great teeth too. Romy's got good teeth.
Good teeth. No, Yoshida has the best teeth on the team. Bernie has also Bernie and Yoshida are tied for the best teeth on the team.
Romy's close though.
I haven't gotten a good look at Romy's teeth.
When we go to Fenway over the weekend, let's get Romy and be like, "Hey, no, we don't want to do an interview. Can you just show us your teeth?" Yeah, and I'll be like, "See, Gordo, they are really nice," and he'll be freaked out. He'll never want to speak to us again. It'll be great.
I'll be like, "Indeed, they are nice," and he'll be like, "Thanks, guys."
Thanks. I listened to the show and I was a little upset that you put me third for best teeth on the team, but
And now I'm gonna be first.
I'm Romy Gonzalez.
I am Romy.
I'm
All right,
Mike.
let me quickly, before we get this started, check if the Blue Jays game has ended yet, because it hadn't, and it looks like it has, and they lost again.
That's awesome because they made a comeback but fell short, which is much more heartbreaking than losing by like 7, which is what they were doing earlier, which bodes well for the Red Sox to kick their ass this week at Fenway.
Are you guys ready for it? We're going to preview the Blue Jays. We literally just did it, but they are now 35-42. That's good for last place in the AL East. A lot of people thought the Red Sox were going to come in last place this year. Season's obviously not over, but the Blue Jays are the team that's in last place. They just got swept by the Cleveland Guardians right after getting swept by the Boston Red Sox. They also called up the number 68 overall prospect in baseball, Orelvis Martinez. However, right after making his debut, this guy just got suspended 80 games for a performance-enhancing drug violation, so you will not be seeing him. But who you will be seeing in the pitching matchups is Chris Bassett, who we just saw, versus Tanner Houck. Bassett's got a 3.52 ERA coming off 6 innings of 2-run ball and 6 strikeouts against the Red Sox. Houck has a 2.14 ERA, the undisputed ace of the staff right now, coming off 5 2/3 of 3-run ball. 2 of those runs were earned, 5 strikeouts in that outing. It's hilarious because that's honestly a pretty good outing, but we all have agreed on the last show that for Tanner Houck, that's obviously been on the lower side of his starts, which is just how good he's been. Second game, Kevin Gausman, who you also saw, versus Brian Bayo. Gausman has a 4.24 ERA coming off 5 2/3 innings of 5-run ball. 4 of those runs were earned and 4 strikeouts against the Red Sox. Brian Bayo has a 4.83 ERA. He's coming off 6 innings of 2-run ball. However, he did allow 7 hits, 2 walks, and 2 hit by pitches. He danced around a lot of trouble, but finished the game strong, struck out 6. That was against the Blue Jays. So we'll see how he bounces back off of that. Third game. This one, the Blue Jays have not announced a starter yet, but it's looking like it's going to be Yariel Rodriguez.
Oh,
yeah. So if you remember Yariel Rodriguez, the dude from Cuba who was linked to the Red Sox for a lot of the offseason, the Red Sox attended workouts. They were interested. Questions about whether he's going to be a starter or reliever. He's been starting for the Blue Jays. He did just make an IL stint. This would be his second start coming off of it, but he's got a 5.94 ERA coming off an inning and a third of 5-run ball. 4 of those runs were earned. He walked 3 and struck out 1. That was against Cleveland in this recent series. So that
5
was
coming off an inning and a third of 5-run ball.
Yep.
I've never heard that. I've never heard it displayed like that. 5-run. He's throwing 5-run ball out
5-run ball. 5-run ball, dude. He let it.
Love it.
5 runs, man. 5 runs in an inning and a third. It's not very good, but we'll see how he does against the Sox. He's facing Cutter Crawford, who's got a 3.59 ERA coming off 6 1/3 innings of 5-run ball. 3 earned, 7 strikeouts against the Reds. The ball was flying in the ballpark that night. That really was what got him. So look for Cutter Crawford to not allow 3 home runs against the Blue Jays in Boston. Hitters, you just saw them. A lot of names, big names underperforming. A lot of guys you didn't know until last week who we saw, and maybe we learned their names, so we'll see. Not going to add too much there. We literally just did this. So let's do series predictions. Oh, wait, no, Joe. Let's call Joe in for a standings update.
Howdy, fellas. Let's get... there was a lot of scoring, I should say, with this series preview. So just to recap, last series, everyone except Pat predicted the Sox to win 2 out of 3. So everyone but Pat was correct. Of course, the order wasn't... actually, the order was correctly picked by Sammy and Gordo. I had them losing the middle game instead of the first game. So the way the standings are right now, you have Sammy still in the lead. He's got 10 points. Gordo finally broke that tie for second place by getting a point. He's got 5. Pat is in third. He's got 4. and it's still me in the basement, but I did get a point with 2.
So this is going to be an interesting one. I believe it's now 7 consecutive series with the Red Sox and Blue Jays that one of the two teams has swept.
Yep.
So you keep that in mind when making your picks. If you're going to go 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3 or whatnot, keep in mind, you might as well just go for the sweep. But I want to let big brave Joe Braverman go first. He's got the baseball isn't boring shirt on his back, and he's got the Celtics are the champs hat on his head. So I want to give him the honors. Let's hear it, Joe.
Yeah, so we're just going for winners here. They're going to sweep them. I'm going to call for it. They are going to sweep Toronto just like they did when they were up in Canada. Feel really good about where the offense is, especially now coming home in a hit-friendly ballpark. Nothing more needs to be said. They're going to sweep them again.
I love it. Pat, what do you got?
I'm going 2 out of 3. I think they drop the Bayo start. I think they go win, loss, win.
I'll go next because I agree exactly. I think it's going to be hard to get Gosman a second time like they did, and Bayo's struggled. I feel really good about the third game. First game could be a toss-up, but I feel pretty good about it. Sox playing well. Jays not. I know it's not the sweep, so I'm going to predict the break in that mold, but Sox 2 out of 3 win, loss, win. Sammy?
They're going to sweep them. Sox are way too hot right now. Blue Jays are ice cold. They're getting ready to board a negative, depressed flight from wherever they are in Toronto or Cleveland. Can't remember if they're home or away. Either way, they're going to be flying to Boston. They're going to be like, oh, there's confetti on the ground from the Celtics, and we just lost to Cleveland. We're upset. Dalton Varsho. And then the Red Sox are going to sweep
Dalton Varsho.
And then Romy Gonzalez is going to smile. Beautiful teeth. Masa's going to smile at them. Bernie's going to smile. They're going to see all the good teeth on the Red Sox, be freaked out, be like, why do these guys put so much attention into their good teeth? Boom, you're distracted. Red Sox sweep.
I like it. 2 sweeps and 2 out of 3s. I like that we're at the point where Pat and I are being negative Nellies by going 2 out of 3. That's how hot the Sox are. We are the negative Nellies 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also, the Blue Jays suck. And they're going to be sellers probably. So they're like sad boys right now on their sad flight with Dalton Varsho.
The sad Canadian fellas. Oh, it's too bad. Well, let's kick it to Pat. Pat, what's it time for, man? I can't take Tyler O'Neill, which kills me.
Crystal bomb.
Bomb it.
Bomb it. Braverman, can we get a little score update, pal?
Only because you asked so politely and so nicely. Only 1 point from the series, and it was from Gordo. Yes, everyone boo the leader for getting another point. He correctly picked Jarren Duran to go deep, which he did. All of us were incorrect. Sammy went with Tyler O'Neill. Pat went with Devers. Devers was struggling in this series, and then I went for the wild card and went with Masa Yoshida. So Gordo's the only one who gets a point. He extends his lead in first. He's got 12. Sammy's got 8. Pat's got 3. And I got 2.
Okay.
Sammy, why don't you kick it off?
Hear this. That was music to my ears. Thank
I'm
you.
going to go with. Remind me. They played the. Okay, I'm going to go with Devers. He's ice cold, which means he's due. He's not ice cold, but he's cold. He's due. Devers is going to hit a home run. It's going to be one of those like laughers where it looks like he accidentally hit it, but then it goes 427 feet. So I'm going to use one of my Devers bullets here.
You got to pick those wisely. I like it. Yeah, the Devers bullets.
3 righties, right? He's facing 3 righties.
Yep.
He just saw them too. Yeah, Devers.
All right. Joe.
Okay.
What do you go?
I'm going to go with Sedaner. I'll take Cedon Rafael on this one. I think he's going to squeak one over the monster. Like you guys said, it's a lot of righties out there. He's been hitting righties really good recently. I mean, he's been hitting well in general. But against righties, that seems like a prime opportunity to send one deep over the monster.
All right. Gordo.
I like the righties on the mound. I'm going to go thick Willie Abreu. I picture him hitting one of those home runs where he like the bat just goes all the way around his body, hits him in the back. I'm thinking like a nice little 395 to 415 footer to the bullpens. Give me Willie Abreu pulling one. If he doesn't get it early, I could see him off Yariel Rodriguez pretty early in that third game.
You like the recoil?
Yeah, exactly.
The recoil hit?
That's the word. That's the word. The recoil.
You know who had the best recoil ever was Vlad Guerrero Sr. He had the best home run recoil. He would whip the bat back around like, boom, bah. It was so cool.
You know who weirdly? So there's 3 guys who I think of when I think of the recoil like that. It's Mike Trout, and then Ryan Braun and Alex Rios. No one's going to remember Alex Rios' swing. Look up Alex Rios' swing. It is low-key pretty as hell.
So you know what you like? I'm pretty sure all those guys do the, what's it called? Where you cross your legs while you're swinging. That kind of swing. Notice when Mike Trout swings, his feet rotate. Some guys do it, some guys don't. All 3 of the guys you just mentioned, I'm pretty sure they do it. It's like the back kick style or something like that. But they all have the swing where you watch Trout's back foot when he does the back swing. They kind of cross, like they switch locations.
Yeah, when we jump
Harper
off this, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the term for it, but like swing.
Harper does it too.
Yeah, it's harder to see with lefties, I think. With righties, you can totally see it because of the way the camera's stationed. But he like switches his feet. I'm gonna try to get the correct term.
All right.
Oh, scissor swing. Scissor swing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Scissor swing. They have a scissor style swing. I'm pretty sure Rios had it too. It's been a while since he's hit. Number 15, by the way.
Never stop doing that. All right, Pat, who are you taking?
So I was trying to get off the schneid, so I thought, I'll use a Raffy bullet. He's obviously due. 2 for 11 with 4 strikeouts. So
he is.
Quite the conundrum. We're going against 3 righties. That means I got to go lefty. I'll go with Emmanuel Valdez.
You're not going Dom, dude?
No, I'm going Valdez. I'm just not trusting my gut. Because my gut would have said Tyler O'Neill. I'm going Emmanuel Valdez.
Didn't you get one right with him? I feel like I remember, Pat, you picking Valdez. Maybe it was Gordo.
He got it wrong. He got it wrong, and then I got it right the next week.
Boo.
So, yeah, we will be all looking forward to seeing Wilyer Abreu take Yariel Rodriguez deep in the 3rd game, and none of your guys hit home runs the whole series, but the Sox still sweep. Sammy, on that note, what are we doing?
Same thing that the Red Sox are doing. Not losing, only winning. Everyone's favorite segment. It's guys being dudes.
Ooh, cha.
This is a tough one because we just did the Blue Jays. So you guys are going to have to put on your creativity caps. Give me somebody obscure, ideally obscure, who played for both the Boston Red Sox and the last place Toronto Blue Jays.
And let me just list the names that you guys did last time so there's no repeats. Sammy, you went Franklin Morales, so he's off the table. Gordo, you went Rob Refsnyder and Liam Hendricks. And, of course, I went with Kevin Pillar. So those guys off the table.
Okay. I can go first on this one because I've got one that is none of those guys. The reason I went with Refsnyder and the Hendricks is because I knew they were coming right back up. And this time I'm going to go with Aaron Hill. People don't remember him as a sophomore. Uh-oh. 6.5 years in Toronto, 732 OPS. He did have an all-star season with 36 home runs in 2009. He only played 47 games with the Red Sox. He had a 577 OPS. That was in 2016. He was not very good, but he was one of those guys where I was just like, oh, shit, they got Aaron Hill. Like, he was pretty good at one point. Like, him, and then he just wasn't good. It's okay. We get you see those guys come through Boston every now and then. That was Aaron Hill. That Aaron Hill acquisition is kind of like, it's kind of like when the Red Sox get like Garrett Cooper or Dom Smith. It's like you really have no idea. Like you've seen them play for years. You just like, you have no idea what you're going to get. Change of scenery, but like they're getting older. Who knows? Even though Dom Smith is weirdly not old. He like looks like he's 36 and he's like 28. But Aaron Hill.
He's the reverse of me.
Yeah, it's true. Sam, you look great.
But I'm 90.
It's crazy. Benjamin Button over here.
All right, Pat, who you got? Do you need a moment? Because it sounded like Gordo picked your guy.
I got one.
Okay.
I'm going with a former Rookie of the Year and a 2-time World Series champion.
Hell yeah.
Eric Hinsky.
Love
I
it.
like it. That's a good one. Dude was addicted to winning World Series.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. He might be one of the most random rookie of the year winners maybe ever.
Dang, Twins just took a 3-0 lead. Twins. Not as random as Chris Coughlin.
I was gonna say that.
I can't think of a more random rookie of the year. But that's a good one. Eric Hinsky. Actually, what was his number? 12, I think, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right.
Okay.
I have a
Cool.
baseball reference up. He was number 12. You're so bad.
All right. Well, here's a guy whose number I cannot remember. You guys remember? I'm not even going to say. You tell me if you know his nickname. Ryan Roberts.
Oh, I don't think I do.
The tattoo sleeves.
Tat Man.
Yes.
They called him Tat Man. He was a utility infielder. He's mostly known for playing for the Diamondbacks, but he did play for both the Red Sox very briefly and the Blue Jays. And yeah, that's pretty much it. He had a sick nickname, Tat Man, because he was extremely tatted. His arms mostly full sleeves.
Yoked.
Yeah, pretty yoked. I do think that when you're super tatted like that, it makes you look more yoked. So
It does.
Grain
It
of
absolutely
salt.
does.
Grain of salt. Not like, yeah. He's still pretty yoked. But yeah, Tat Man, Ryan Roberts, didn't really do much, but he's a guy. He existed, played for both teams. What a dude.
What a dude. But on that note, that's going to do it for episode 84 of Play Tessie. Keep an eye out. We're going to have another one coming for you guys tomorrow. New episode 85 coming out tomorrow. So keep an eye on your feeds. It's coming out tomorrow. But before we do that, you can get that notification when that episode comes out if you subscribe on the Odyssey app, Apple, or Spotify. So you can hit that subscribe button, rate us 5 stars, helps us out a ton. Check it out on YouTube as well. We are on the WEI channel. We've got a Play Tessie playlist there. You can rate us. Actually, no, you can hit the thumbs up on those videos there. But check us out on both sides and on the socials at Play Tessie on both Twitter and Instagram. Got tons of good videos coming out for you guys on those. But till next time, till tomorrow, when you tune in tomorrow, for Sammy, for Pat, for Joe in the back, it's Gordo for Play Tessie episode 84. Thanks for tuning in. Toodaloo.